tiny giant, logical unicorn, or disciplined chaos? Now, I know what you're thinking. What are those silly contradictions? But they're not. They're the seed for innovation. But I know that's a big statement. And to really tell you how, I need to take you back to my childhood, back to a bowl of alphabet soup. Growing up, Wednesdays are my favorite day of the week. But it's not because of time with friends, a favorite TV show, and definitely not because of school. No, Wednesdays are my favorite because that's the day my mom makes alphabet soup. I get so excited about this day, I have my own system to count. Monday, beans. Tuesday, pasta. Wednesdays, beloved alphabet soup. Now, my mom is convinced that this is her favorite because of her culinary skills. But in reality, what we love is the fun. To my brother and I, this is not just delicious soup, it's innovation day. I mean, picture us. We're sitting together, matching letters, and creating words that never existed before. But we come up with words like angry pants, banana muffin. They all make so much sense to us. After all, we're not constrained by our identities or our expertise, so we are free to create. But it isn't until years later, and honestly, almost 1 decade of me running a business, when I finally find the biggest insight on how to create products and services that nobody else in my industry was providing. But I must warn you, what I'm about to tell you will probably contradict what you have heard of innovation, or might as well just be the opposite of what you're expecting. I know that was the case for me, because for most of my life, as I assume most of us do, I believe that differentiation and innovation could only come from expertise. So I look around and I did what everybody else was doing. I read the books, got the certifications, and I tried every tactic I could. Now, if you're thinking that I became successful, quite the opposite. I was burned out because I was basically doing too much and getting too little. I saw my efforts kept increasing, but my differentiation completely stalled. And then is when a question changed everything for me. And if you want to know what that question was, well, here it is. What if that breakthrough that I was looking for was not hidden in more expertise, better tactics, or harder work? But what if it was in the contradictions that I have been combined and confined to avoid? Since we're little, and as we grow up, we're always told and asked to pick a side, either science or the arts. You could choose whether you want to be creative or logical, emotional or reasonable, but never both. So we start to believe that we can only be one thing. You're either good with numbers or with feelings. You're either fun or you're serious, but never both. And the problem with that is that it not only shapes what we do, but also who we believe we are. And that's when you meet an engineer who tells you that he cannot be creative because he's logical instead. But what if is that identity that we have created for ourselves the one thing that is keeping us from innovating? I believe that what we most get wrong about innovation is that we think it requires endless knowledge, when in fact, what it requires is for us to lose that grip on our identities. When I learned about combining industries and cross-pollinating, I became so excited. I had so many possibilities to create an amazing business. I thought the breakthrough will come from better models, smarter systems, even mixing the unexpected. But I was wrong. The work had to come from inside first. If I wanted to combine industries, I needed to recombine myself, to allow all parts of myself to be, not to pick one side or the other as I was told to do. Basically, I had to reallow my playfulness, my curiosity, and the fun back into this serious business identity that I had created. I needed to bring back everything I left in my alphabet soup. And that's when I began to see it everywhere else, when I noticed that pattern in myself. And that's when I met Elise, a fitness coach. The kind of fitness coach we all admire. She's disciplined and very driven. Her whole identity was built in fixing behaviors, accountability, and calories. But she was stuck. She was competing on an overcrowded industry. When she took a deeper look at her clients to see what was the problem, she realized that they didn't have a discipline problem. They were drawing in guilt. Fitness had become a battlefield against their own bodies. So this is when I suggested something outrageous. I said, why don't you borrow from industries that are built on enjoyment, pleasure, and even indulgence? Well, that's when she laughed. And she said, that's the opposite that I stand for. But again, she was stuck, competing harder, getting louder, and watching her clients quietly leave. So she tried one terrifying experiment. She wasn't going to get rid of discipline, but she wrapped it on the light. She switched her programs to experiences and replaced shame with sensory rewards. She invited her clients to delight again on the process of becoming healthy. This is the moment when Elise stopped holding into this identity of the discipline coach, and she was able to create again. And that's when she understood that her breakthrough didn't come from a better strategy, but actually, it was the moment when she stopped choosing between discipline and indulgence, and she allowed both to be true at the same time. And that's when I understood something too. It is the moment when we stop holding so tight on this identity that our expertise has created, when the question switches from how do I protect my expertise to what can I combine and become? I know that it is your expertise that has gotten you here, but the one thing that can unlock the next level for you is to allow all parts of you to be, to stop picking between oppositions, because you too can embrace both. And I want to leave you with this, with a visual. We all have different parts to ourselves, and by themselves, they're okay. But when you mix them, you create something new, a new color emerges. So next time you're stuck looking for a better idea, maybe just take a look inside yourself and see what are those parts that you have been afraid to mix. That's how innovation begins. Thank you.